Love it. All right, this is for ATTR
811.
811. Thank you. As part of the Indiana State doctorate in athletic training program. So, Steve, you were talking about some of your fantastic ideas. Let's hear them.
Yeah, I don't have a lot going right now. The storming of the brain is it's not going very well. But I've got a few things. I watching the videos from the second years or from years past. There's kind of some interesting stuff. Someone did a video on basically what athletic trainers are worth in the high school setting. So I was looking at potentially doing something like that in the collegiate setting. If you watch the intro for Dr. Powden's class, we've also got an assignment this semester where we have to, like, show what we're worth, show our value. Like, that could kind of feed into it well. And as far as, like, adding staffing, I think it'd be kind of interesting to know, like, by having an athletic trainer, you saved whatever, $200,000 in care, which is probably more than that, honestly. So that'd be interesting. I don't really know how to track that per se. I guess just track the treatments that you do and then analyze against, like, Medicare, ICD-9 codes, whatever, what the treatments would be worth. I don't know that there's really, like, an intervention there per se. There's really not. So that's kind of one. Also, switching gears, we are currently, like, rest for student athletes is, like, obviously really important and really undervalued, or at least seriously undervalued. Everybody knows they need more rest, but we don't really do anything about it, or we do, as much as we feel we can. So here we're converting some space formerly known as storage rooms into a sleep room. So I was going to try to do a baseline Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index on several members of the team, as many as I could, and then kind of do it periodically throughout a period of time after this sleep room is opened, because right now it is just under construction. So I thought that could be kind of interesting, just on their perceived, how they perceive their sleep is impacted by the use of this room, and kind of maybe further justify the use of some space in these manners. I was also thinking about trying to see how we're big utilization. We use a lot of class 4 lasers around here. So the photobiomodulation deal, all that fun stuff. I kind of wanted to see how that specifically impacted trigger points. I don't currently utilize it on trigger points that much, a little bit here and there, but thought it'd be kind of interesting to really try to implement that in the treatment of trigger points. I don't know if I need to go specific body area, or how what outcome measure would actually track said trigger point alleviation. So any feedback, please let me know. And then I'm kind of out of ideas. So we recently got a float tank here, a big saltwater bath that you lay in. Everyone was super hyped about it. So I thought that could be cool to perceived kind of rest, or some form of outcome measure. But, it was really, really cool when we first got it, and now no one's really using it. So, which is a bummer. But I could try to, like, maybe push that as a recovery modality for certain cases, certain whatevers. That's about all I got. We also have, like, a real fun tool called personalized repetitive transcranial magnetic stimulation. Have you heard of this? The magnetic thing, I've kind of talked about it before a couple times, but trying to see how that helps with sleep or something else. That's all I got.
I really like the sleep idea. I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah, that could be good.
And then I think with the other ones, I think you like definitely try to be as specific as possible. So picking certain body parts would help guide the research process.
For, like, the trigger point one, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or for the the bath, having it
Oh, yeah.
be
Right.
specific injury.
Yeah, that could be kind of interesting. Because I mean, like I said, it's underutilized, and I feel like people are a little skeptical on it, and maybe rightfully so. But actually, kind of tracking perceived effect might be kind of interesting.
Have you looked at what current research has on it?
I have not. I've been brainstorming for about 2 days, and also trying to, like all of you, schedule many other things. So.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you. But I think you could even just do a quick search and see what pops up, and just so you can kind of make it more specific for brainstorming purposes.
Yeah. No, I like it. All right.
I really like your idea of like what are we worth. I think all of your ideas are fantastic, really.
Oh, you're just too kind, man.
For real. As I am like in the process of trying to search for a new job right now and trying to argue like for a higher salary, because I'm like, but I don't have anything to go off of, because like, what am I worth? I don't know. So I think like that kind of study has the potential to do some definite implications. Like if you're doing that, other people can start to catch on to that. But sleep studying, I think that you guys have nap rooms. That's awesome.
Right. Silly.
So jealous.
It's bad. I mean, it's like everywhere else. Like in the past years, like people are just laying on the floor. People are laying on your treatment tables. You're trying to like treat athletes, and they're trying to take naps, and you're sympathetic, but at the same time, it's like you got to get out. I'm sorry. So you're like laying in the locker room, and it's like it's very like simple and logical. But they're gonna buy these like little nap beds that have like this revolving thing that goes around their head. They're $30,000 a piece. I think Oregon just got a bunch, and they're like, what are you doing? Just buy some cots, or like buy some bunk beds, buy some recliners. So they're doing that instead, which
they have those at in offices in Virginia Tech. They have like a snap room.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I like this part of 2018 where we're like finally giving adults rooms to nap in at work. But I think athletes need it a lot more than we do. So
yeah, and just specifically like with the football population, August is brutal, like we all know. So like it would really get utilized. After that, I don't know. I think it could just become part of the routine and potentially be helpful. I don't know. We'll see. Well, thank you all for the feedback. I appreciate it. How about any thoughts on outcome measure for like trying to track trigger points? Like alleviation of pain, or
you just do like a grok before and after.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And then you could do the GROC for like, you could say immediate and then also delayed.
Yeah.
So you could say like, oh, okay, so we're doing a laser treatment, twice a week. So if you do laser treatment on Monday and Thursdays, then you do, the immediate effects of the laser post-treatment on Monday, and then Thursday before you start their second treatment, then you could do another GROC. And then after like 2 or 3 weeks, say, what's your overall rating of improvement based on whenever we started this until now. So you could essentially have like 3 different measures, and that's pretty feasible and really easy for a patient to understand.
Right.
The rating of improvement. Really easy for the clinician to just go ahead and jot those numbers down too.
Yeah. Cool. I like it. Thanks. Who's next?
All
Babyars.
right, it's me.
I love that you're running this room, by the way, Flagrant.
Yeah, you're doing a great
What
job.
else do you expect? I'm always flagrant.
Truth.
So I've thought about a few different things, but nothing super like in depth or like specific. So working with women's volleyball, I found there's literally no research on women's volleyball. So I was thinking taking something that has been highly researched in baseball and trying to apply that to volleyball, especially with like pitchers or something like that and our hitters, and seeing if that is applicable to women's volleyball players or even something that's researched in softball. And just seeing if that's kind of applicable, because there's no real research out there in volleyball, which is kind of a shame. There's a lot of women's volleyball teams out there at the collegiate level. And it's kind of crazy that there's slim to none research on it. So as far as exactly what, I have no idea. But that's kind of in the works. If you guys have any like cool ideas that you guys have seen research-wise in baseball that I can kind of utilize, I think that'd be awesome. And then also I was thinking about kind of developing an upper extremity assessment of risk, or risk of injury assessment, because there really isn't one out there that's good. So I was thinking of it and then seeing how they do through the season and going from there. I really like advocacy research in general, so doing something maybe with like, I don't know, haven't really thought that hard into it. And then I also like doing anything education related. So I was thinking about kind of implementing like debriefs a little bit more into my, like with my students, and kind of tracking that and looking at how that kind of changes their something or other. I don't know how I'd measure those outcomes, but just kind of some ideas out there. I don't know. I have a lot more brainstorming to do. So yeah, if you guys have some awesome ideas, that'd be great.
I'd be interested to see like if like hand grip strength and like how that like applied itself to volleyball. We're doing a study here. Our baseball and lacrosse teams are doing a study with grip strength, just doing, you know, handheld dynamometer strength, seeing if there's a greater than 5% deficit bilaterally, and if so, you know, implementing strengthening to correct that. And I think they're interested to see how it goes across the season as well, just with like baseball players having to hold the ball and grip strength dropping. I don't know if volleyball would be as applicable, but I think there's definitely some, I feel like there's some research out there too on like grip strength and shoulder injuries, and like that would definitely apply to volleyball.
Yeah.
So, and that'd be easy to do, just a dynamometer, you know?
Yeah.
And taking that even one step farther, you could divide it between positions, like back row defense, front row hitters, setters. See if, because obviously your hitters are going to be, they're definitely going to have a dominant side as compared with defense.
For sure.
Probably aren't, and same with setters. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I like that.
I also like advocacy research, and I'm about at the same place you are with that. The world is your oyster.
Due to Lauren's quick Google search idea, there's an
Love it.
article for you to storm your brain.
It's awesome. I'm going to read this.
Boom.
Great.
Man,
Cool. Thanks.
Thanks, Lauren.
I'm all about those quick Google searches. Maybe a little too much sometimes, but yeah.
I don't know,
Cool.
are you interested in doing like education, like patient education or athletic training education based stuff?
More athletic training education stuff. Honestly, I feel like patient education stuff gets very kind of, everyone does that stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone understands that it's important and that they should do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not against it, obviously. I think it's super important, but it's just not something I'm super interested in.
Sure. Okay.
So,
And
I was also thinking, go ahead.
Is it more of like clinical education or in the classroom education?
Clinical education. Yeah. I was also thinking something along the lines of like how I could do like PBR or advocacy research for CEUs and something like that, because that my traditional research project is about CEU and like planning for CE. So I think that there could be some room there to kind of meld that into PBR, but how to do that is kind of, I have no freaking clue. So yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know how to track that.
It would have to be survey based, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's tricky with because we're in like we're graduate assistants, so that's the majority of athletic trainers at ISU are graduate assistants. So we're all aren't really worried about CEUs right now because we get them through being in the doctor program. So
yeah.
I was thinking maybe you could do something like interview of people. Maybe you can reach out to schools and do like an interview and maybe add some education in it, and then see and then interview them like later and see if it like encourage them to pursue something a little more meaningful than just like going
to NATA and
so I think you could do something like that where you're reaching out to like other athletic trainers.
Yeah, actually, I was just thinking about that because I'm part of a couple of alumni organizations on like Facebook and stuff. And like in the past, like when I've needed help with assignments, like in the DAT, they've been more than willing to help. And so I think that's something like if I were to able to like put together some sort of educational thing for them, and like try to see their findings or see their thoughts of CE before and then their thoughts afterwards, and kind of go from there. I think that could possibly work.
I think doing interview wise and could be really informative for you in general. Then you can kind of like interview like with the education included. So like like the same idea before and after, but I would just encourage maybe more interview style.
Why would you say more interview versus like survey?
Yeah.
TBD.
Talk. Great talk.
Sorry, I had to get the dog.
Oh.
Sorry, did you ask me a question?
Yeah. So why more? Why would you like encourage more interview based versus survey based?
I think because CEU stuff, not a whole lot on it, right?
No, not really.
Right. So I feel like, and this is now might not be the best person giving an opinion on this because it's not really my area, but I feel like with interviews, because it's more open-ended, you might be able to get a little more to go off of.
Okay.
So later you could do a more survey. I feel like it gives you more, but I guess you could do a survey and have like open-ended questions. I feel like I know me personally, I'm better. I'll give more information if it's an interview style rather than typing because I'm lazy. So.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion. Like I said, I'm not going to be the best one because I haven't done anything with surveys and interviews and stuff.
Gotcha.
That's my thoughts on it.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
Does the open-ended interview style lend to making things more difficult when analysis comes into play?
Yeah, because you're going to have to do like code booking and stuff like that, and it just turns it into a freaking mess.
Yeah.
But again, like my research right now, it's a lot of open-ended questions. So I'm still going to have to read through 870, 900 answers for 20 plus questions. So it's going to be just a lot of reading. And then I'll then have to like code all that and then find themes and hope it's something meaningful. I think it will be. So I actually just hit the number I needed to today for so that's
awesome.
Thank God. But yeah.
Cool. Ms. Fowler, what did you have in mind?
Okay, so my first idea, and this is if I don't get another job and I'm staying here in Heston, America, I am thinking, not Central America though, I'm thinking that I do not schedule patients right now. And I feel like there are so many times during the day when I just have like an influx of like 5 different people. And I don't know how many times they walk in the door and I'm just like, I'm sorry, I don't even remember what's wrong with you. I know I've like evaluated your injury and I've already treated you once, but I don't remember what we did. And I like the consistency of care doesn't exist in that realm. So then my plan would be for next year to start scheduling patients. And then do like a patient satisfaction survey, which I would probably distribute like once a week until the conclusion of their care. If they're longer term patients, then it might be like a bi-weekly thing instead of every week. That's idea number 1. Idea number 2 is I would really like to see, I deal a lot with patellofemoral pain syndrome because we have super unathletic people that go to Hesston College and then they try to play sports and then it's just a nightmare. And so our cross country team is just like plagued with all these injuries because they've never ran before in their life and now all of a sudden they're running 30 miles a week and I'm like, cool, healthy. So we have crazy Q angles because that's all that we can get to come run cross country in Hesston, America. And so we've got some gnarly patellar tendinopathy going on. And I would really like to see the difference between taping them, like just taping their patella like medially to just place less stress on the patellar tendon versus the mulligan taping for patellar tendinitis and see if there's any difference between those two. That was idea 2. And I feel like I could do that if I got a job somewhere else. And then I guess it kind of depends on what my sport would be. And then my 3rd idea is doing something, and this I don't know if this is very feasible, but I'd like to see no, it's not feasible at all, actually. Just trying to figure out. Maybe I could do it. Megan. Maybe I could do that just kind of with some local athletic trainers or use you lovely people to see what are some of the health habits of athletic trainers, of just seeing, like, are you keeping physically fit? Are you doing something? Adam, I love your face right now. Are you doing something to keep physically fit? Maybe like have that play into your sleep. Like, are you sleeping well, or something like some sort of dimension of daily health habits, or I wake up every morning with a beer, or
just don't do alcohol intake.
And I think then we'll be fine. But something along those lines. But I don't really, that's not really practice based either. I just would be curious to see what that would be.
I think that's really interesting. I think that would be really interesting to look at because, I mean, let's be real, we practice what we preach, and Lord knows, like, I never tell anybody to do something that I don't do myself. So there's not a lot of like encouraging of healthy habits going on because I feel like guilty. But I'll be like, I don't know, maybe you should eat before practice because I would eat before practice. So I encourage it. But I think that would be something that's interesting. Mm-hmm. I really like the scheduling idea, mostly because I think scheduling is great and it's a lifesaver. I mean, I don't even have really like the heavy, well, I guess I don't really have it because I have scheduling to blame, but it really does help, and people get more one-on-one care. And I think I like how your idea is to gear it towards patient satisfaction. And I guess you would have to have something to compare it to and see what patient satisfaction is. But maybe you could have, maybe you could have a time where you just let people come in, mm-hmm. and then you can have people who are scheduled. Sure. And then when they take a patient satisfaction survey, they can say which one did they do. So it could be kind of tricky, but maybe you could just have them do it like at the end of like a week or something if they come in really early or something. But I think that would be something that would be really interesting to look at. And I think scheduling is great and everybody should do it, but I know it's not always feasible. So.
Yeah. I don't care if you study scheduling or not, but you should definitely do it. It's super awesome. And if you study it, that's even more awesomer. Because if you can find a way to study it with like good outcomes and you get some good results and you do show that it is in the benefit of the patient, like I think that's one place that athletic training in general is terrible at, is scheduling and having just, you got 2 open hours to fit however many athletes you've got in or how many patients you have in. So I think everyone should schedule, and I think that would be super awesome to do some research in. But if you don't, you should still schedule. And like firsthand, I mean, it's changed the way that I practice significantly. So I think that it would be super awesome. The patellar tendon stuff would be really cool too. What was your other idea?
Health habits.
Oh, that would be really informative. You'd find some really cool things, I think.
I have an idea. I just got an idea about what you might be able to do with that to make it a little more practice. Maybe you could do like looking at health habits compared to their health related quality of life.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
So then that way it's like you're a lazy piece of and so you're not doing anything to better and so of course you're miserable. So that would be we work long hours. We need to have a little bit of be a little healthy. So
healthy.
Just tonight.
I think someone has done research on that.
I think it was Lauge.
Yeah. Talk to Lauge.
Yeah.
See what her thoughts are. Or talk to Dr. E and see what Dr. E thinks Lauge's thoughts were.
Yeah.
With your volume of athletes, like would you be open to having a Google Calendar or something like that they had access to? Or are you just gonna try to have them all text you? Or
I could no, I can actually work with my EMR system. I use Athletic Trainer software, and I could actually have it available that they go into their portal, and then I would have my availability. So they could pretty easily schedule their appointment with complying with HIPAA. So I think it would definitely be. Yeah, I've been wanting to do it for.
Good. Yeah, scheduling is super important. I think I agree with Adam. It's either like you have 2 hours a day to squeeze everyone in, or in my case, I'm here 10 hours a day, and so they know you're always here, so they just kind of come whenever they want.
Yeah.
So we've been trying to schedule and work on scheduling more, up to a week in advance, if with long-term rehabs, to try and rotate our scheduling of our athletic trainers a little bit. So if you can see who's coming in when they're coming in, you can actually schedule. Otherwise, people are here all day and they're frustrated, and it makes it tough. And then with your Q-angle one, I think it'd be really interesting if you implemented some form of therapeutic or rehabilitation program into that, as opposed to just a taping deal.
Yeah.
So you can get to kind of the more of the root cause and correct some of that Q-angle issue. Because then that would be full-blown implementation, and you can kind of really track some results there. Okay. We only have 9 minutes left. Lauren, go.
You're muted. You're muted.
You are muted.
Okay, we're good. Okay, so McCall did a PBR last year with the swim team, where she looked at she had a PRO. I don't remember what it was. She did the closed kinetic chain upper extremity stability test, and then she looked at the internal and external rotation of the shoulders, and then got the yardage from the coaches that they were doing throughout the season. And so she looked at kind of how she did it. She did the data collection once a month, and then looked at how everything changed throughout the season. And in her perfect world, the next step was going to be to develop a shoulder prevention program that adapted depending on what was going on throughout the season, based on her findings. So that was something I was really considering doing, because I think that would be really interesting, and I think that'd be really cool to have kind of an ongoing research like that. I also thought about doing kind of the same format as hers, but look at more neck type stuff. I had a lot more neck condition or like stuff pop up than I thought I would. But it makes sense with kind of just typical swimmers forward head posture. Not sure exactly what I would do with it, but it would have to do with probably their neck rotation, what stroke they do, but I'm not sure what I would do in terms of like strength or stuff. I think it would pretty much just have to be range of motion and a PRO. And then my last idea, which I've briefly talked to Dr. E about it, is look at basically like seniors that are, I would probably do it at their seasons, but have give them a survey to look at how prepared they feel to basically be able to like take care of themselves. Kind of a healthcare literacy kind of type deal. So do they feel prepared to, be able to, I don't know, feel educated enough? Do they feel like they were educated by their athletic trainer? Like kind of stuff like that. And do that throughout all of the sports. So then to see, the idea is that football is going to be the worst because they're babied very badly. Nothing against you, Steve. It's just, that's my observation at Indiana State. And I think it's a big issue. I think it's stupid. So I think it would be interesting to look at something like that. I think there has been a little research done, so I'm going to have to look at what really has been done. So yeah, that's my quick spiel on my 3 ideas as of right now.
I like your idea of looking at neck issues for swimmers. I think it would be really interesting to divide it up between strokes. So you've essentially got 5 that you're dealing with. Butterfly, backstroke, breaststroke, and individual medley. And butterflyers always have bigger shoulders because of the stroke that they have to do as compared with breaststrokers, who are usually, that is a lot more chest-based. And then compared to freestylers and backstrokers. Backstrokers might have some more because they have to have more of an open chest. And then IMers kind of get it all. So I think that would be super interesting. I would expect, of course, for butterflyers to have the worst neck pain.
Yeah.
I think something to kind of bounce off of that also is to look at like thoracic spine mobility and see if that kind of plays into neck pain. I would like to think it does to some extent. I found in my own personal practice that it leads to a lot of shoulder pain if they have poor mobility in their thoracic spine. So I think that'd be super cool to add in there. I know very little about swimming, so yeah. But I mean, I think your easiest one would definitely be to play off of what McCall's got, and I mean, just kind of implement that, see how it goes. Boom, you're done. But I really think that looking at the neck pain is probably your coolest and would be super freaking awesome. So
that would be cool. You could even implement like a thoracic mobility protocol using all of our new manipulation techniques that we learned. And implement that and see what kind of an impact that makes.
Yeah, because they have like we call it their shoulder stuff that they do before practice every day. So the nice thing about playing off of McCall's was that the coach wanted to have something that changed up a little more, and so that pretty much like kills 2 birds with 1 stone. But I'm really interested in the neck stuff, so I might just kind of like combine it all together, and that would be a lot, but I think it would be interesting.
You can do it.
I really want to look at neck stuff because it's just really interesting to me. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the feedback, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Any last thoughts?
No, please feel free to reach out more if needed.
For sure.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Cool.